Since most of you live in a kingdom far, far away, let me introduce you to Sebastian, Basti, as we call him here tenderly, in Austria. Who's that and why should you care? Well, who is not really that important. The more important thing is, what is the political strategy behind this guy? But let's start on the beginning. Let's start with the person, shall we? So, Sebastian Kurz is right now the Minister for Foreign Affairs, age 30, and that's damn young for Austrian standards, and I would say it's damn young for all the Western world. Before that, he was the chairman of the Young Austrian People's Party, which is our version of the Center Conservatives. And this is when that happened. Sebastian cruised there through the hood with his crew in his Geilomobil, which roughly translates into a horny, randy, hot car. You can imagine the response. But to be fair, it looks like he stands to that. He accepts it as a kind of his past, and I really respect that. So his formal education, well, he tried to study law but suspended it for the pursuit of his political career. At least he tried to study something with at least some market value and real-life application. However, Sebastian was 1 year part of Vienna City Council when he was appointed to State Secretary for Integration. And here the things start to become interesting. You see, this post did not exist before, and when they implemented it and posted this young rich kid with no experience on it, well, we all thought, oh my god. Just another appeaser, just another apparatchik who will tell us about the enrichment of Islam and crawl up the slimy path of politics all the way to the top to become the next best clone of these typical Christian conservative semi-socialists. And here we were wrong. Kurz drove a surprisingly hard course. Hard in the sense of, well, at least not bowing down every time a Muslim enters the room. At least, but this is already way more than we could expect from all other politicians in charge. And also in his own party. And he's not exactly a hardliner. He told us on more than one location that Islam is part of Europe and Austria. Siege of Vienna. But he came up with some, let's say, interesting ideas, like a single German translation of the Quran, which is kind of silly because the book is only right in Arabic. The book and his followers say exactly that, so it's kind of pointless to translate it anyway. But he's one of these guys who really think that he could construct a liberal Islam by writing a soft version of the Quran. Good luck with that, chum. If you do that, you create a new religion. And the Quran says that it's not allowed to do that. Because, as we all know, because we all did read the Quran, Big M was the last prophet. The book is complete. There is nothing else to add. There is everything that is to know in there. God damn it, read the book, Basti. However, why is it, you might ask, why do these old suckers bow before that? Is it because the Muslim population explodes and there are more and more and more of them and therefore more and more votes in this group? Yeah, but that's half the story. The magic word, the more interesting word, is voter mobilization. You see, we had some scandals. Well, of course, there are not scandals, because there are only scandals if the press reports about that. If I tell you what happened, it's hate speech. But, however, the story goes like that. A lot of our new citizens don't speak our language, and, let's face it, will never do. As of this, they can't write or read German, and a lot of them can't even write or read their own language. Would it make this hard to vote? Not really, because every party makes pretty clear which row they are in. We are list 1, we are list 2, we are list 3, and so on. Which translates to make an X in row 1, in row 2, or row 4, or whatever. So, where it might become hard is to find the candidate you favor. You see, we don't vote only for parties. You can give an additional vote to politicians. If one politician is, let's say, 5th on the list, but gets a heck of a lot of these special votes, the party moves him up and the list changes. So the probability that he gets the job increases. So if you want to give him votes, you might have a hard and really tough time doing that without the ability to read. So what to do? Well, get yourself one of these fancy vote at home and send it per snail postcards, which violate the mandatory secret voting passage, but who cares nowadays? And what to do next? Well, give it to someone who can read and write, or at least one of these things. Or just to someone that you trust, like, let me think, your religious leader. And if you don't trust him, he might point this out on occasion in his temple, mosque, or whatever. So just give him the damn card. Some dudes then sit and fill out these cards again and again, always in the same manner. And tada, Muslim politicians rise now up in the lists. But who cares? I mean, the party got a lot of votes, and this is what it was all about, so yay! Well, the center-right party of Kurz, tried to get into this game, but, well, let's say they did not be as successful in building up connections as the socialists were. The socialists, they play this game and they play it more or less alone. So this battle is already lost for the center-right, and I think they know that. And here we come to the interesting part. Sebastian Kurz is not as a person is so interesting, but that is a tactic. You see, the right populists are right now flourishing, mostly because every other party went so far left that the ultra-right wingers can now expand into the left, into the center. So I made a video about this. Click the card if you're not familiar with this particular problem. You get a bit more explaining there. So our far-right can now say that they want to defend the rights of women, Jews and gays against Islam. And they come away with that. I mean, this might piss off, of course, the far-right segment of their own party, but for one, there's not a lot of them out there, and compared to the center at least, so if you lose some in the far right, but you get a lot in the center, who cares about the edges? And on the other hand, they still vote for them, because who else should they vote for? The far right wins, because they occupy a lot of space that used to be occupied by the center right, and to a degree, even the right faction of the left parties, which is absolutely crazy. Still, the media is of course left-wing, so it's hard time to change that. And the people parties in Austria need to go back right. But how should they do that? I mean, you can't come up with your old dudes and say, oh yeah, well, we were wrong, we go now back a bit more right. It doesn't work that way. You might lose a lot of credibility there. So what you can do, on the other hand, is put a young guy in there and give it a test run. This young guy occupies then the position that were the position of the party, let's say 20 years ago. And then you can go in direct competition with the, let's say, with the left segment of the far right. And you can plausibly deny that you had something to do with the bullshit that the party did the last 20 years. Because he was a kid then. And then you watch to whom the population responds. If they hate him, if the population is really all gone left, well, the party just give him a slap on the head and say, oh, silly child, no. Of course, this was just a prank, or this was a silly child. We are, of course, for social justice, Allahu Akbar, and go Basti, go back and study law or something, hush, go away. But if the populace resonates well with this, let's say, new old line, those in real power just put more of these youngsters in front who follow this new old doctrine. Remember, those who are in power are there to distract from those who are really in charge. And what happens right now in this very moment? Well, as you might not know, we are ruled by a coalition of the State People's Party with the Social Democrats, so moderate left and moderate right, whatever that means nowadays. The modus operandi there is that one party has the post of the chancellor, in this case the Social Democrats, and the other, in most cases the smaller party, gets the vice chancellor, in this case the People's Party. And this guy that had these posts gave up some days ago. Naturally, the question did arrive. if Sebastian Kurz will follow him. And Kurz himself told us that he won't take over the party in this particular state that it is right now. But if he can change some stuff and if he had a free hand, well, do you see the pattern? I would say in the very near future we will see more young blood and a fight over the voters between the moderate center-right and the far right. The big question is if the People Party is indeed ready to become really conservative again, or if this all is just theater. However, the Kurz maneuver is a good tactic to check out the response after Populus, which is more important than ever since the media won't represent the opinion of the people. They only represent their own bias. And conservatism comes back. Conservatism is indeed the new counterculture. Kurz is just the trial run, and the people liked it. And I never would thought that I would ever say that, but Sebastian, go for it. Perhaps you're more than just a puppet. I mean, stranger things happen in this land. Go for it. Be conservative. Generation Z will love it. And a good advice: bring Effie Dömnes in your boat as soon as humanly possible. Man, go for it, Basti. Go for it.